Say good morning, America. Well, today is more than just an election day, it's a defining moment, a pulse check on where we stand as a nation and where we're heading. I'm Teddy, and you are listening to Messy Mocha. Across the country, from bustling urban polling centers to quiet rural town halls, millions of voices will come together to shape our future. Today, we're witnessing democracy in action with the stakes higher than ever. This election isn't just about choosing leaders, it's about confronting the questions and challenges that shape every aspect of American life, our economy, our communities, and our role in the world. Over the next 24 hours, well, we'll be bringing you some of the twists and turnabouts. And if there are sudden breaking news stories, maybe we will come back live to cover them. But as I mentioned last night, it will be tonight. Most likely starting around 8 o'clock, when the majority of polls here on the East Coast will have closed. Some still will be open until 9 o'clock, but the returns will begin to come in. I've already voted. The lines were brisk right at 7 a.m. this morning. I had gone out, got my coffee. I was all set and ready to go. And yes, people were standing in line. They were. But I was able to get in and get out. So I've looked at some of the coverages thus far. But yeah, here around here, people are saying Trump is going to win, and then some are saying Harris. A flip of the coin, said Harris. A flip of the coin, said Harris. All right, so the return watch parties are going to be held, one in, I guess it's Palm Beach County. That's where the former president, Donald Trump, is holding his, not too far from Mar-a-Lago. And the vice president is going to be in Washington, D.C. I think it's going to be somewhere on Howard University's campus because they are putting up gates um, around portions of the campus this morning in expectation that the vice president will be there tonight. So it's going to be exciting. It's already getting exciting. And as I mentioned last night, well, the wait is finally over. We are going to know whether Donald Trump returns to the White House or Vice President Kamala Harris becomes our next president, and history will be made if she does become our president as the first woman, female, to hold that office. How are you feeling this morning? I'm feeling pretty good. I am. I'm ready to go and ready to give you some of the latest. So I'm following, there's some election maps, and of course, it's still early on, nothing has filled in. I'm looking at the Associated Press elections. I'm also following uh, New York Times this morning, along with CNN and Fox. Fox News says the time has come. Millions of voters hit the polls to decide who takes the White House as election day is now in full swing. So, again, live breaking updates will be coming in. But before I turn to all of that, let me come out and say good morning. It's Tuesday, November 5th, and it's 9 a.m. Good morning to my moderators, Baby Juju and Vicky Black, and all of you who are joining me here on YouTube as well, Instagram, X, Facebook alike. All right. So, shall we just jump right into it? Subscribe to Unwind with Teddy, Run Tell That Too. I'm Natasha, the machine, D for Danielle, and a rip running receipts, and it's back up. Okay, so we'll, maybe if we have a little time toward the middle or end, maybe we can get into some of the messy mocha after we cover the U.S. election news. Let's see, give a bio. What is this? Is like waiting for a biopsy, like the results of it, isn't it? Mhm. Yeah, um, it is. It is. I said what I thought the other day, just the other day. Mm. I don't know. I don't know, but I voted. I did. So we're going to see. Remember what I said. Someone's got to win and someone's gonna lose. Either way, it's not, I'm not going to let it shake me either way. No, no. Um, I'm still an American and I'm not moving out of this country. I don't care who's elected. I really don't. I mean, as far as moving out of the country. But for those of you who have your passports ready, yeah, make sure that you take enough money because you're going to need it if you uh, think you're going to leave the country and not have to pay, maybe even in some places, much higher. Yeah, I I don't know where the land is now, where people can just flock to and pay much lower prices and live comfortably. And yeah, maybe there's some farms out there somewhere overseas. Yeah, but it would seem like the natives of those countries would have at least uh, swapped up some of that, don't you think? Okay, so let's find out. Let's see if I can. Fair use commentary. Let's bring this up. There we go. Yes, the time has finally come. Let's just start right here. Why not? Let's start with Fox and look at what's going on live as Americans decide their next president of the United States.
For extra delicious game days,
Going to be playing any of the audio, and it's really up to you. If you haven't voted yet, the polls are still open. If you are undecided, and there's still a lot of undecided voters, once you walk into the polling place and they hand you your ballot and you walk over to the booth and you lay everything out. And I thought about each candidate. I thought about the things that I heard said over the campaign. I thought about things that weren't as popular that were said. And then several things began racing through my thoughts. Was recalling things that were said by both. Yes. I thought about, for example, um, the vice president saying that when her mother was ill, with cancer, dying of cancer, and how she took on that and cared for her mother. Then I thought about President Trump. I believe it was on July the 16th that he was at a rally on a Saturday when he experienced a brush with death. He did. That was the first assassination attempt on him. And what would come later would be another one. I thought about what would be best for me as a woman, as an American. I thought about the economy. I thought about the border. I thought about abortion rights. Again, because I've been listening, to both sides. It didn't take long, though. And I decided. So get out there and vote, because I heard someone say early this morning, each and every vote is going to count. And even though you might not think that your one vote might count, it could make or break just in a specific district. You just never know. Okay? So polls are open in Arizona, Wisconsin, Iowa, other states, and that was an hour ago. All of them, let's see, it's 9, well, for the most part, in the Midwest and Central should probably be open by now. This year, up to 150 million Americans may vote in the U.S. presidential election. When voters cast their ballots, they select electors for the candidate who wins the popular vote in each state. A majority of electoral votes is 270. The electors then cast votes for president and vice president in each state's capital. Um, and on January 6, 2025, and let me just back up, that would be December 17th for the electors to cast their votes, president and vice president. And on January 6, 2025, those electoral votes will be counted in the chamber of the House of Representatives. The new president takes office on January 20th, 2025. So I did have my dates correct. I did. So as of 8 a.m. Eastern Time, polls are open in 38 states, including District of Columbia. Polls open in certain parts of Vermont at 5 a.m. Eastern, and quickly followed by Connecticut, Kentucky, Maine, New Jersey, New York, and Virginia at 6 a.m. North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia began voting at 6:30 a.m. And at 7 a.m., polls open in Alabama, Delaware, District of Columbia, East Florida, Georgia, New Hampshire, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Missouri, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, and Wyoming. At 8 a.m., polls open in Arizona, Western Florida, Iowa, Minnesota, Mississippi, Oklahoma, North Dakota, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, and Wisconsin. Arkansas is the next to open at 8:30 a.m., which it should be open now. Polls will open nationwide by 12 p.m. So another 3 hours, and it really will be on. Let's see. 8 minutes ago, as an update, Heinrich says Harris campaign projecting less confidence than Trump team. Let's see what this is about. An observation. The Harris campaign has not been talking much about early voting data. When they have figures they feel good about, they share them. Like last week when they announced that women have made up to 55% of early voters across battleground states. But for the past 2 days, we've received few hard numbers on young, Black, and Latino early turnout. Instead, they've been sharing numbers for doors knocked and calls made. Did you see that in Pennsylvania? The vice president, she was knocking on doors, and this couple and family greeted her. So I did witness that. They have shared some anecdotes like high young voter turnout in college towns where you'd expect it, and statements about enthusiasm. But they're not giving out the kind of details that Trump campaign is touting, like the Republican share of early vote among new or infrequent battleground voters, Republican share of mail vote across battlegrounds, and return mail, early turnout comparisons to 2020. Let's see what, just a little more. Let's look at some of these battleground states. And I will be following this map, the 2024 presidential election results map. This again is from AP Elections, and as they fill in, um, which again, maybe some will begin to color in late this afternoon, but after 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, a number of those should start to populate. Okay, let me find out AP. There's two articles. Hang on. Let's skip over here. Let's go to the New York Times. Then I'll come back. This was updated 6 minutes ago. Election live updates. Voters go to the polls to decide a divisive race. Will voters make Vice President Kamala Harris the first woman to lead the United States, or return former President Donald Trump to power? I asked the same question as the polls are now open. So, a divisive, chaotic, and draining presidential campaign came to an end on Tuesday, with voters poised to either pick the first woman to lead the United States in its 248-year history or return to the White House. A twice impeached former president who has upended American politics and culture while molding the Republican Party in his image. It really has become the Trump Party, at least for the last 8 years. Well, by 8 a.m., Eastern polls had opened in dozens of states and in District of Columbia. More than 78 million voters had already cast an early ballot, either by mail or in person, in a weeks long early voting season that was relatively seamless. There is a gentleman by the name of Jimmy Reeves. He's 41, headed off to work after being the first person to vote in his precinct in Hamtramck, Michigan. I know where Hamtramck is. Little town. It is, I'll say it, I'll call it kind of like, or I think of it like Highland Park, surrounded by Detroit, a little niche right there. It's bounded by I 75, and I would say it is south of 6 5 mile over in that area, heading toward downtown. Yeah, so Hamtramck. Hamtramck used to have a bustling little town with manufacturing. Yeah, Hamtramck plant. I'm not certain if the Hamtramck plant, as it was called, is still open or not. But again, Jimmy Reeves, he was the first in his district or precinct. Two poll watchers, one named Sumana Ahmed, 18, and Jew Abedin, 20, monitored from a public area. Let me see. Can look at some of those. I voted for Kamala Harris. It's not something I wanted to do. That was said. Hmm. Who said that? Vetra Jackson, 30, of Maricopa County, Arizona. Mr. Jackson said he voted for Donald Trump in 2020 but chose Kamala Harris this time because he feels like his views no longer align with those of the current uh, Republican Party. Are they showing his picture? Okay, you can throw it up. Business leaders are debating when to speak up about the vote. Again, some voters are staying silent and concerned that they may actually um, experience some political backlash. All right. So this Catherine Wild of the Partnership for New York City recently organized a call with business leaders to discuss their roles in the case there was a post election turmoil. Let's see. There she is. Corporate America has largely stayed silent about the election, fearful of political backlash, employee discontent, and potential retribution by former President Donald Trump. Oh, shit, he went. But as worries of potential civil unrest mount, some business leaders are deliberately, when it's time to speak up, deliberating. So again, Summer Mum. On Monday afternoon, The Partnership for New York City, a nonprofit group representing some of the city's largest companies, organized a call with Dana Remus, the lead lawyer for Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign, to discuss business's role in case there was post-election turmoil. So I'm kind of skipping through, but let me just see what they had to say. The group, which includes some of the country's most influential business leaders, had urged Congress in 2021 to certify the election results. Monday's call included more than 100 chief executives, communication advisors, and other senior managers. Before the election, taking a stand would be a partisan political statement, said Catherine Weil, again, this chief executive of Partnership for New York City, recalled saying on a call. And now this one. But if there's violence or a threat of political instability or a contested transition after the election, major employers and business leaders will engage. I wonder what that would look like. Ms. Remus also walked attendees through how electoral legal challenges might play out. I also heard, listened to, I believe it was the DA in Pennsylvania. Was it Pennsylvania? He said some real strong words. That's right. 15 hours ago, Philly's DA warns anybody who thinks it's time to play militia on an election day, he said, F around and find out. He said they're not going to be playing in Philadelphia. He stood up there. He was flanked by some of police, other officials. Yeah, his name is Larry Krasner. Issued a warning. Let's take her off there. I don't know if I had. Let's see if I can just show you this one real quick. There he is. I don't need to play it. Let's just make sure it's off. Warning. That's what he was giving this morning. Issued a strong warning to anyone who might think about interfering in election day activities. This was during a press conference on Monday. Krasner highlighted voter protection efforts made by the election task force on the eve of election day, saying, "We are here on a very important day before a very important election. We are here more than anything to speak about protection of the election, making sure that the election that will occur, that was yesterday, occur tomorrow, now today, will be free. It will be fair, and it will be final," said Krasner. He also said they have no deep abiding fears or concerns surrounding safety and reassured the community that when they get up to vote today, they would be protected. Let's get a stronger headshot of him there. That is the AP. He said, "I also want to be clear. Anybody who thinks it's time to play militia, F around and find out. Anybody who thinks it's time to insult, to mistreat, to threaten people, F around and find out. We got a pair of handcuffs. We got a jail cell. We got a Philadelphia jury, Krasner said, promising to prosecute anyone who tries to interfere in the vote. Anyone. So if you're going to try to turn an election into some form of coercion, if you're going to try to bully people, bully votes or voters, you're going to try to erase votes, you're going to try any of that nonsense. We're not playing F around and find out. Boy, he kept repeating it. Krasner said he is hopeful that they won't have any issues, but he also said they do have a concern that there may be people either working in the polls or close to the polls who are going to bring frivolous, bogus challenges to voters. Let's see what else. Oh, there was more. This is the bottom line, Krasner said. Anybody who thinks you're going to play those games in Philadelphia, you're going to do it in bad faith. I've got no problem with doing it in good faith. But if you do it in bad faith, there is an election court. There are judges. They have orders. During the last presidential election, two men, 61-year-old Antonio Lamada and 42-year-old Joshua Macias of Chesapeake, Virginia, were arrested in Philadelphia with weapons and ammo outside of the Pennsylvania Convention Center where votes were being counted that eventually won President Biden the White House. Krasner acknowledged that they are all aware of the controversy facing elections in the U.S. and are making sure every vote is counted. But this, he said, is my nonpartisan hat. We do not care who gets your vote. We care that you get to vote. That is the most important thing, he said. The FBI Philadelphia field office said it is also bringing in additional support and adding election command posts. The agency said it will enrich each FBI field office across the country to streamline communication and response and ensure the safety and security of the elections and public. All right, let me just break from this for just a moment. And come out. It's 37 minutes into the broadcast. Typically, I have in the past did the 5 things that you should know. By playing it, I might read some of it, but first, let me see what you think. Yes, Junebug. Sounds like he means business. Philly, Philly DA's not having it. If you think you're gonna, show up in Philadelphia like those other 2 guys, forget about it. They already waited. But hopefully nothing is going to, be anything like that. Good morning, Bush babies. That's right. Let's see. Who else is joining me? I said good morning, Gabe Apaya. I've already said good morning to you. And let's see. Joanne is back again saying Baby Juju, Jujitsu, Vicky Black, Gia Papaya, Junbo. All of you, good morning. So, Americans, head to the polls. It's election day. Some things that are trending on CNN, which I haven't really um, read from or gotten into. Joe Rogan, he threw his endorsement behind the former president last night as he was sitting on his talk show. He has I think, the most popular talk show here in America. Yes, Joe Rogan, popular podcast host, officially endorsed. Well, you would think that he had endorsed him, but he made it official. On the eve of the election, again, a move Trump's team swiftly touted as a major win. This is coming from CNN. In the final hours of their campaign, Rogan on Monday released his latest podcast featuring a 2.5 hour interview with billionaire, ex owner, and top Trump surrogate Elon Musk. Rogan then posted on X, the great and powerful Elon Musk, if it wasn't for him, we'd be effed. He makes what I think is the most compelling case for Trump you'll hear, and I agree with him every step of the way. So that endorsement comes just weeks after Rogan had interviewed Trump on the Joe Rogan Experience, and we recall that from last month. Trump, who was on stage in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for his rally, when Rogan made the endorsement, swiftly touted the development. It just came over the wires that Joe Rogan just endorsed me, he said. Isn't that great? Thank you, Joe. That's so nice. I wonder where President Joe Biden will be today watching the returns as they come in. Hmm. I wonder if is he in Delaware? Let's see. I want to be accurate. Trying to see where in the news. Hmm. Okay, so he's expected to monitor Election Day returns from the White House and coordinating with his team on key developments throughout the day. He'll stay in touch with prominent Democratic officials and advisors as the results come in, providing guidance and preparing for potential statements. So, by doing this approach, it will allow Biden to remain close to his executive team while supporting Democratic candidates running across the country. And yes, it's not just the presidential election, there's seats up for grabs in the House and the Senate. Let's see. Let's see. Joanne says, I wonder what time will the updates start showing? I think it's going to start um, officially when some of the first polls close around 7. I know most of the talking heads are going to be on beginning really at 6 o'clock. I mean, they're on all day, but I expect someone, for example, like Wolf Blitzer, to take the mic um, at 6 p.m. tonight, along with all of the the major news anchors, um, and follow it well into the night, especially if it's going to be a close one. I mean, where they just can't, haven't gotten returns from either pivotal key swing states and or it's just too close to call. As night falls, though, and I'm talking about, yeah, as darkness falls upon cities, and it will happen, on the East Coast, then expect other kinds of stories to begin to emerge, because there are always those who are watching and waiting to see after dark um, what could possibly potentially show up, people in the streets either protesting or there's always pockets of these groups that start to emerge as well. You know, who knows what will happen when the returns begin to come in? I don't know. But tonight, I plan to come early, at least by, I'm thinking 8 o'clock. I should be ready to go live by then. Yeah. Who knows? I might even come earlier, but I think it will most likely be around that time. Yeah. Yeah, Biden has been subdued. Yeah. Yeah. It's for him, I imagine, and only imagine, him thinking that he was, going to be on that ticket for the Democrats, and that it happened. It did happen so suddenly once it started happening. Once the signaling uh, was clear that a successor would need to be picked, and Biden was President Biden, it became more apparent that he was being, even if it was behind the scenes, being nudged to step aside, to give his, pass it over. I felt, I did, it felt, there was a sort of a sadness in the way that things had taken place, and although it, signs were showing, especially after his performance in the debate with against Donald Trump, I did think that there was going to be like mini election, or more than one person was going to be able on the Democratic side to give their pitch, but that didn't happen. And perhaps it didn't happen because they didn't have time at that point to, I'm going to use the phrase dilly dally around. A decision had to be made. Harris was picked, and money immediately, hundreds of millions of dollars, began to pour in overnight once President Joe Biden stepped aside. I mean, the money was pouring in. She raised more money in such a short period of time. You talk about a war chest. Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, has a real war chest. And she was able to quickly put together a team, quickly to jump into the campaign and move full speed ahead. And for that, just that, just that, tactically, I would have to say, I'd have to give her a nod. I mean, it went quick, it went pretty smooth. And look, we're here. She came through that part of it. She did. And we will see how she finishes tonight. We will. Yeah. Junebug says, do you think the race would be so tight right now if President Biden was the Democratic nominee? No, not at all. It was going to be like a landslide. I think. And yeah, so we are actually approaching the 10 o'clock hour, and that's when I had hoped to end this broadcast. I did say that I might talk about a little messy mocha at the end of things, but I'm not sure if I fully answered your question, Junebug, but I think I addressed it in my phone ring. Yeah. Oh, yes, I did. Okay. Mhm. Because I went on about President Biden. But yes, I think it would have been for Trump a landslide victory. Mhm. So it was important enough that the Democrats made the decision to replace him at the top of the ticket. Because at that point they could see that. At least that was my perception. Should he stay, it was going to be a loss, not just a loss, but you know, an astounding loss. And that's not going to be the case tonight. Vice President Harris, she might eke it out. She might surprise all of us. We may see some partying in the street tonight. I did say, maybe some time ago, if she becomes our next president, just like I was there in Washington when President Obama was, first elected and sworn in. It was cold January. Yes, that I will make the trip. Yes, because I think should she become our president, uh, it's going to be packed the mall in Washington D.C. Yes. Kind of like what happened with President Obama. maybe not as many, but it's going to have a different kind of a feel. There will be there will be a lot more, I think, diversity in the crowd, and a lot more women, young women, should it happen. I also, on the other hand, if um, there's a return of Donald Trump to the office of president, to the White House, when he first won, the crowd you could see on the mall, it was not as packed. It just wasn't. I mean, there was a crowd, but that was his first time. I guarantee you, should he become the president, that day of inauguration for Donald Trump, the second go round, that mall is going to be a sea of redheads, a sea of supporters. He won't have to look around, and the news media won't have to look for people. It will be an overflow. That's what I think. It's going to be absolutely. It's going to be, yes, Jumba. If he becomes president, I mean, and there's no dispute, there's no waiting, none of that. People are going to be buying up hotel space in Washington. You will not even be able to hardly get near to it. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. It's going to be off the chart. As a matter of fact, his campaign had more. I'm going to say this again. It seemed like the first go round, his campaign had more difficulty, getting celebrities to perform for him, to be there. He's not going to have that problem. No, I'm not talking about the supporters, the celebrities like a Cardi B and all that. No, 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 no. He is not going to have a problem whatsoever. Even with his background, it doesn't matter. I really think they're going to bring a huge party to Washington if he wins. So either way, either way, we're looking at two individuals, two different. It's not going to be Joe Biden, okay? We are looking at two new faces. Even though Donald Trump, it's been a little while, the return of Trump is going to be seen as victorious. It is. But let's just see. Let's just wait till the returns come in tonight and see who is going to be the victor in this fight, because it is competitive. It is. I know that Vice President Kamala Harris says she's the underdog. She might pull out a surprise. Joanne says Donald Trump and the village people. I think money is going to buy me love. Yes, and the Republicans will be able to attract with an Elon Musk and all the other billionaires. I think somebody prominent is probably going to want to perform for Donald Trump, even if they hate him. We will see. It's going to be more than just Hulk Hogan and that group. That would be pretty funny. All right, the village people. Okay, it is what to 9:55, and so what was I going to touch on as part of math? It seems like somebody's identity has been made known. Yeah, darn it, wasn't Danielle yet, but it seems like somebody else. Somebody who once said on their broadcast when Daniel was on their broadcast with them, made a comment about me and said something like this. Yeah, Danny, I think you should make another wellness check on what's her name, Teddy? Yeah, something like that. Oh, yeah, okay. Joanne says this election, the Trumpsters are coming back with a vengeance. I think people are lawyering up. Mhm. Facts, Teddy. Joanne says, I remember that. I remember it too. Can we say B for busted? Hashtag B for busted. Oh, that just came to me. Hashtag B for busted. Email unwindwithteddy@gmail.com. Yes. A supporter of a robo. Can we say B for busted? Yes. I wonder how whoever did that. I wonder how they got it. So, I mean, they just ooh, the shade of it all. I know. Maybe when you are cleaning house, you should think back a bit. Make sure you clean around all the corners, all the hashtag. Can we say B? Gosh, the bees are coming to me. Hashtag B for baseboards. Clean up the dust. Make sure you take a white glove to it. Take a white glove to it. Because if you call the police on me, we know who you are. And besides, they have been called so much to this house. Well, I'd say go ahead and call them now since you wanted Danielle to send the police to my house so we can play that recording for the police. Yes. This is that part of Messy Mocha. I don't know yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be D for denial. No, I heard that's you. And it makes sense to me from what I've been able to glean. hmm So, yeah, when you showing, make sure you remove all breadcrumbs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Make sure that your carpet covers the floors. Make sure your throw rug isn't one of those 9x5s. Make sure it's an 11x14. Big, because you can see the floor and it matches. Oh, the shade of it all. See, I've never been afraid of a. Oh, by the way, weren't there some simians in her chat? Yes. Remember what I said? I said I wonder. I asked the question. I wonder, is there a link between her and the simians, or Danielle, or whatever? I don't know. I don't. But if there is a connection to be made, it will probably be found out. I don't know. I don't know by whom, but if there is a connection to be made, there will probably be a little. You know what I say? You gotta, when you're cleaning up, make sure you dust in the corners, because it looked like a lot of clutter. And well, some people would call it clutter. I don't know. Clutter can be good clutter. Yeah. B. Hashtag, let's do one more B. One or two more. Hashtag B. Maybe she's going to say bottoms up. I don't know. B for bottoms up. I just thought of that one too. Yeah, B for bottoms up. Let's see. B for begging. I see the word begging. B for begging. Begging for what? Begging for help from D for Danielle. Help me, help me. Oh, she can't help you. Because right now, oh, right now, yeah. Isn't there a clock over there ticking or something? There's a countdown clock. Where is it? There it is. Google response to subpoena to disclose documents in the case of Kimberly Smith versus Daniel Robertson. The case number is 224-CV-12213. So I wonder, what are they going to tell us? Who is on that account? Who is on that account? I told you guys it always gets good after the hour. So where is, let's see. I mean, since they were boasting, about me. Yeah, yeah. Wait a minute. How does it feel? When people do the same things, they do the same, playbook that Danielle played, and then somebody plays that hand on them, right? You ready to go?
Fly with the stars,
Kiss
I'm
bear
free.
hug.
Party all day, every weekend. Make it boom, boom to the beat. Make it boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Fly with the stars, I'm free. I'm free, yeah. Party all day, every weekend. Make it boom, boom to the beat. Yeah. Make it boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. I'm glad to be alive, yeah. Cause I don't wanna waste my time, no. I'm young and dumb and hopeless, right? But I'm bound to turn out alright, yeah. The city's really not my vibe now. So I'm moving out my parents' house, yeah. To go and live another life where my dreams don't lay down and die. I'll hang out with the folks on screen. I'll be chilling in a pot of gold. You should bet your money on me. Cause I'm never ever coming home. I'll fly with the stars, I'm free. Party all day, every weekend. Make it boom, boom to the beat. Make it boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Fly with the stars, I'm free. Party all day, every weekend. Make it boom, boom to the beat. Make it boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
You can call 1,000 times, but I'm not picking up tonight, cause I'm a bit too busy serving all the smiles, having me a real good time, with a drink full of bubbles. It's the bad for my health. Holy shit, I just stumbled. Still I'm feeling myself.
Fly with the stars, I'm free. Party all day, every weekend. Make it boom, boom to the beat. Make it boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Fly with the stars, I'm free. Party all day, every weekend. Make it boom, boom to the beat. Make it boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, I didn't say B for Bush babies. Yes, hashtag B for boom, boom, boom. She's not going to be able to deny that's her. That's you. That's you. Hashtag B. Oh. Hashtag, you mean that's the person who's so hashtag B for big and bad and bold and busted? And boy, oh boy. Yes, it's dry humor, not a dry eye. That's what it is. Uh, yeah. Okay, I hope everyone enjoyed this morning, especially the closing. But tonight, we will find out. And I plan to come back. Yes. Was that messy? A little. Or was that shade? Oh. I wonder if her boyfriend gonna come to her rescue. Hashtag B for boyfriend. Hashtag for B for both. Yes. lots of B's. It's amazing when you focus on a letter how easy it is, but you gotta be quick. Mhm. I like the B for busted. I didn't plan it. I I'm just giving commentary, especially they gave so much about me to not know me. But now we know you too, at least on paper. Please join Unwind with Teddy later for election night results on Run Tell That Too and for Night Talk. That's it for me. Biggest bear hugs go out to all the Grizzlies. Please hit the like on your way out. I hope you have a great election day on this Tuesday. Hashtag B4 break a leg. All right, but be careful. Be careful. That'll do it for me. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. Goodbye.
When I drink and let it go. I drink to let it go. I find myself alone. I try to let it go. I'm all over the place. Since you're gone, I gotta clean this place you left dirty. Moving on into another phase where you can't hurt me. Why is it so hard? I gotta confess I'm losing it. Why do you keep haunting me? I gotta confess I tried to let it go. I found myself alone. I tried to let it go. I tried to let it go. I found myself alone. I tried to let it go. Why is it so hard, man? I can't confess I'm losing it. Why do you keep haunting me? I gotta confess I tried to let it go. I found myself alone. I tried to let it go. I tried to let it go. I find myself alone. I tried to let it go.